Plus Rise, the podcast, where resilience is not just a concept, but a lived experience. I'm your host, Thomas Scaria, a resilience coach, a ultra marathoner, and a relentless believer in the human spirit's ability to rise. This podcast is a companion to my book, Resilience Plus Rise 26.2 Transformative Miles to Unleash Your Marathon of Life Mindset. Each episode is a raw, unfiltered dive into the story of those who have faced life's hardest battles and emerged stronger. Just a moment back, mentioned a statement, a relentless believer in the human spirit's ability to rise. Today, I'm honored to reinvite Rob Kamranpoor back to Resilience Plus Rise. He, by profession, he's a utility executive, he's an entrepreneur, a leadership strategist. But what differentiates Rob is building the younger generation, building strong teams, scaling startups. He believes in developing the next generation of leaders. So, without much further talk, Rob, welcome to Resilience Plus Rise, the podcast.
Awesome. Thank you very much, Thomas, for having me again. I'm excited to be here and looking forward to having a conversation with you today.
Fantastic. So, Rob, of course, we did have a conversation more than a year back, quite possibly.
Yes.
And I believe there's a lot of things that have been changed. When I look at your LinkedIn uh, posts, etc., and things, there's a lot of things which has been happening in your world. But before that, for maybe people who are not, who do not know you in its own way, I tend to say time and again, our deepest of purpose comes from, at times, from our deepest of wounds. What has made you, or why is this important to you?
Yeah, that's a good question, Thomas. It's important to me because, again, just the struggles I've had, the challenges I've had to go through in life, and the lessons I've learned. So I'm honestly, I'm grateful to have gone through life's lesson. I've learned so much from it, and I had a lot of time to actually reflect and become self-aware in my own life. And
Mhm.
in this sense, this is what I want to give back, not only to the next generation, but anybody that I come across that I can help out. That's what I love doing. For me, that's the greatest sense of fulfillment, is being able to help somebody and hearing a thank you for having even that little bit of tiny impact on their life. That means more to me than any paycheck could.
Fantastic. And guys, I will be putting out Rob's connection information in my write up down below. Have a look onto it. And if you're in the East Coast, you're in Toronto area, Greater Toronto area, or something, do reach out to him if there's some struggles that you're going through, whether you're building up or maybe some challenges in life, how to find leadership groove. He could be your man. Just tap on him.
Thank you.
So, so you have been quite active in the space of helping the next generation, not only the next generation, but generally people getting into the next level. Can you tell me a little more about what, how your projects have been working, and what's the impact that has been creating? It has been creating. Sorry.
Yeah, no problem. So again, I started my journey with the leadership training and coaching back a few years ago, and I started to implement the Young Professional Leadership Summit back in 2024, where
Hmm.
again I had a vision of trying to bring more of the younger generation in one room, and instead of doing a one-on-one with them, you have a grand scale, bring other good people, good leaders from different industries, so they can not only hear it from one person, now they're hearing it from multiple people, and how leadership has the leadership traits. Their stories are all aligned in terms of how they succeeded in life, and just be able to inspire again the younger generation and give them hope. I think one of the most important things in life for any human being is give people hope, because I connect with you. And if you've done something and you've been through those struggles, and I see myself, hey, I can do it too because somebody's lived it. I think that's quite impactful for people to connect with. So I started that in 2024. Again, started off with the summit where we had about 70 people show up to the first one.
Nice.
Last year, I put a bigger team together, and again, these are all volunteers that volunteered, their spare time, instead of watching TV, going out, spending time with friends. They dedicated and were committed to the vision that we all brought forward. And we actually had 300 people show up to our event last year.
Wow, good. Good for you, Rob. Fantastic.
Thank you. So to me, again, the feedback I received, not only from the younger folks, and when I say younger, we had people up to 40 years plus that attended the event. That that got me more inspired when I looked at that room from the back, from the front, and I said, "Holy, look at all the people sitting here that are engaged, that are actually soaking a lot of this information in." And the feedback afterward was so rewarding, and they're like, "Why don't you do this on a monthly basis, because we need more of this." So after that, I initiated the Young Professionals Leadership Club.
Mm-hmm.
So with the club, we're trying to do events monthly on a smaller scale.
Mm-hmm.
But again, this year we're going to have the key summit in October again, and we're expecting to put 500 people in the room this year.
Fantastic. All the best. There was a question which comes up is that you mentioned it came as a vision, but the stirring within, yes, a vision comes up, but then the stirring within usually comes long before that when you're interacting with different people. And but the question which comes up over here is that when you look back, whether you have met 70, those 70 people, or now 300 people, has there been some story that has resonated with you so deeply that it has become a part of when you look back and say, there was a change that I created?
Uh, Honestly, Thomas, I don't think there was just one. There's been
Okay.
so many. You know, I get a lot of feedback even through LinkedIn after the events. People reaching out and saying, uh, they love the platform that we've created for them. One of the things we hear, Thomas, is it's great to have people at this level listen to us. It's great to have people understand some of our struggles,
Mm-hmm.
and it's great to have people that are willing to mentor us. So when we talk about leadership, when we bring in uh, industry leaders and executives, these are the folks that don't let their titles get in the way. They don't have the egos. And very well too, it's so hard to get in touch with certain people, because once you get that title, some people just lose, and they only dedicate time for people at their own level.
Mm-hmm.
Think about the executives that are now spending their weekend with kids that are just coming out of university, that are still in university, and for them to give this time back, to me personally, it means the world, because they're not getting paid for it. Uh, you know, the reward is again internal, and that's another
True.
another thing I've heard from these executive, Thomas, that they get that sense of fulfillment, and they're like, Rob, we want to do this again. So to me,
Very good.
that keeps me going.
Fantastic. And when we talk about the leadership skills, this is not just confined to the next generation or the people, I mean, the children who are just ready for the world, but also for people who have been involved in their journey in
Yes.
life. Mid-age executives and maybe senior executives also. You do have this leadership program. A question which comes up is that, do you see any difference when you're taking time, you know where I'm leading to, taking time for the younger generation, or when you're doing your leadership coaching for the seniors?
No, I think there's common, there's definitely common, uh, there's common issues amongst, no matter what age you're at, no matter what, again, it doesn't matter, male, female, uh, regardless of the age. The common denominator for a lot of us, Thomas, is the fear, the
Mm,
insecurities, right? And it's our own, mental block that we need to get over. And once you're able to start, and this is why I always said you got to start leading yourself before you lead other people, is
fantastic.
the way you show up. People are seeing you, people are hearing you. And if you're not really able to lead yourself, how do you expect people to follow you when you've got insecurities, when you got confidence issues? So a leader is supposed to be able to handle, certain situations, stay strong, get the team through. And if you can't portray that, if you can't demonstrate that, how do you expect other people to follow you? So
S-
starts with the basics.
Fantastic. As they say, is that when you have bad experiences and you think over it and mull over it, that's when you start getting depressed. And when you
Yes.
start fighting unknown fears of the future, that's when you get anxious or
Yes.
anxiety hits it. And that's when all the problems starts occurring rather than being in the present. You mentioned a very powerful statement about leading self and showing up. Those two, I also believe, is that that's the key ingredient for
Yes.
any success. But in your experience, in the last decades, and again in the training area and coaching and leadership strategies, if you were to take 3 to 5 elements that has stood out for you, and that has been, I would say, some of the key magic ingredients that defines who Rob is, what would those be?
Uh, Again, showing up for yourself is vital.
Hmm.
One of the things that I always say is I know that I was built different. That's one of the things. I even have a, a kind of like an artwork at home that states that, and I look at that every day, where for me discipline is one of the key things.
Okay.
um, I was able to build discipline over the years. um, for me, going to the gym for the last 27 years, that's showing up whether I don't feel good, I'm tired, it's whether it's 6 in the morning or 9, 10 at night, I'll show up. Even if you're doing little work, or if you're not putting 100% into it, you just
Hmm.
and
Okay.
that's translated over all the different aspects in my life. And another key thing for me is you can't get me to give up. I refuse to quit. I've fallen more times than you can imagine. I've failed more times than you can imagine. This is where I look at your book, that resilience, and that's the one word, resilience and grit, is something I'm proud of to have accomplished over my career. And this is where
Beautiful.
I can take my story, take the formula that's worked for me, and try to pass that out on, and help people overcome those fears or insecurities, or just
Mhm.
the limiting self-beliefs that people need to believe in themselves a lot more. And that one of those things that I've gotten a lot better is two things: is controlling my emotions, and the positive self-talk versus talking negatively to yourself all the time.
Self. Fantastic. Actually, that gets me to a beautiful statement I had read the other day, is that most of us, we feel it's okay for self-deception. Something, an example which was given is that when it comes for a time for you to be photographed, what we do first is pull in our stomach.
Yeah.
trying to show. And what do we do after that? The stomach comes out again.
Yes.
Has the problem gone away? No. The problem goes away when you start getting active.
Yes.
And then you don't have to pull in your stomach only for the photograph because
Yes.
you show up the way you are.
Absolutely.
What's the I mean, I you mentioned about 500 plus, and I wish you all the best. And in fact, I would say, why is 500? I sincerely hope it should be around 750 to 1000 plus to go further than that. But are there any other plans in the pipeline for the summer that is coming up, or anything that people need to know?
Again, from my perspective, some of my goals are I've got an engineering company that I'm a co-founder in. For me, it's scaling the company, and uh, again, one of the reasons I want to scale is not only from a financial perspective that a lot of people might look at is I get to bring in more people to help grow in the company.
Mm-hmm.
Again, it's bringing mixing the young talent with the experienced talent, have them kind of you know develop through the folks that are knowledgeable and help them raise and like help them raise up. And that's super important for me because I
Mm-hmm.
feel that there's a huge knowledge gap in especially the industry that I work in. A lot of people are retiring. Their knowledge and experience walks out the door. What happens to the young people that are left over? And I think it's super important to help kind of, make that gap a lot smaller than it is. And the way I can do it is, hustle, grind, get more work in. So at the end, I can hire more people to train over time.
Wonderful. Best wishes on that. Total best wishes on that. Just again, for the uninitiated, when you're talking about the project that's going to be for leadership training for the next gen,
Mhm.
which is going to be held in October, what are the basic premises? What's the platform? What can people expect out of that?
So again, we have an in-person, so all of these events we bring people in person. We try to mix it up so it's you're not sitting in another event where you're bored out of your mind, where you've got people talking one right after another. So we've mixed it up with panel discussions with interesting topics, not just work related, but
Mm-hmm.
people on the human side related. We're going to do a couple of talks with some key people to share their stories and journeys. We're going to have workshops, and one of the main points of gathering and bringing people together is a networking piece. I think again that's something we're lacking in society is people talking to each other face to face. We've seen over from COVID, all these online meetings and
Mm-hmm.
you know that interaction between humanity needs to come back where we need that human touch instead of always being on the phone, always being distracted with something. So we want to have everybody in that room that are engaged, ready to talk to each other. There's a lot of folks, younger folks who are even, I would say, they've used the word, we're scared to approach an executive because the levels are so different. But what I tell them in this room today, you don't have to have that fear. If you don't believe me, go and start a conversation with one of those execs and see how they make you feel, right?
Beautiful. Wonderful. That would elevate. I mean, of course, we have got our own mindset about the younger generation, the way they are totally on their soul, part of their soul which has been sold
Yes,
onto this small thing over there. But and we have got our own misgivings, but then at times when somebody comes with a genuine interest, it becomes so much more easier for the communication to take place.
that's it.
Just be mindful of the time. If there was something that you would like to leave the listeners with, what would that be? A piece of advice, a suggestion, anything, or a story, anything that comes up to your mind. Take your time on that.
Yeah, I would say two things in this day and age, Thomas, that are super vital in my opinion. Again, is one, make you and your health your number one priority. And number two, believe in yourself. We live in a world again with a lot of social media, a lot of non-realistic things, people coming at you. There's judgment. There's, again, lots to take in, lots of information, comparing yourself with other people. But at the end of the day, get up every day, believe in yourself, believe in your goals, go after what you want. Believe me, I came from like the bottom, and if you believe in yourself wholeheartedly, you'll get to
Mhm.
achieve what you want in life.
Fantastic. So, Rob, this was an amazing conversation. Thank you so very much.
Really.
And guys, in this last 20 to 25 minutes, we heard what Rob was all about. As he, as we could discern, is that the mindset, the way he looks at it, is a foundation. Whether it's about your own growth or whether it's about the growth of your company, the ability to lead others on how you lead yourself, showing up, creating a mindset not only of being healthy physically but also from the mind point of view, letting go of all the negative aspects, letting go of comparisons. And like I would say, the three pillars are your complaining, comparison, and
Mhm.
criticizing. Let going of those particular elements will get you to the next level. So, Rob, thank you for your space and time. It has been again another amazing conversation. Thank you, sir.
Thank you so much, Thomas. I really appreciate you.